sit to stands. So sit to stands is the beginner squat, if you will. And so we're working on higher level strengthening, or trying to move towards higher level strengthening with this exercise. So you're going to sit in a chair with feet and knees shoulder width apart, and then you're going to just practice standing up and sitting back down. A couple comments on form. I'm looking at your knees. So I want your kneecaps to look like they're in line, pointing straight ahead with your second toe. And so I don't want it to look like they're knocking inward or they're knocking outward as you're performing this motion. And when you move here, I want it to look like your kneecaps never pass in front of your toes. So you want to keep your kneecaps behind your toes and in line with your second toe. And what that does is it focuses the work a little bit more in your glutes and your butt cheeks and prevents too much stress and soreness from happening in the front of your knees. So for sit-to stands, I typically start with about 10, with the goal of being able to do 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, and practicing this every other day. Now we're going to look at seated heel raises. So this is a great way to start working on ankle strength if you don't feel like your calves are very strong yet. So you're going to sit in a chair with your knees bent, feet shoulder width apart, feet flat on the floor, and then you're slowly going to raise up and come back down. And then let's go again, going up and coming back down. Typically my goal is to be able to start with 10. With the ultimate goal of being able to do something like 3 times 12 to 15 reps in a set. These are a starter exercise, so once you can do 3 times 12 to 15 reps in a set, you are probably ready to progress to doing these in standing. Technically, this is considered a higher level exercise, so if this is challenging for you, we're looking more for an every other day kind of frequency rather than daily. So now let's look at how we can stretch out our calves. So when we do this, we're going to face a counter or a wall to help with our balance. And on both feet, you want the toes to point straight to the wall. The heel on the back foot must be down. And then I'm going to bring that front leg forward, so that way I have room to bend the knee to increase the stretch in the back of my calf on the back leg. As with all stretching, when we're trying to improve range of motion, we want to hold for 20 to 30 seconds. And then you take a break. And then you go again. And ideally you want to do 3 times 20 to 30 seconds per round, and ideally stretching 3 to 5 times per day. The calf is actually 2 separate muscles. One is stretched as I am doing now with a straight knee. That's called the gastrocnemius. But there is another one called the soleus, which is actually stretched with a bent knee. So mine is really, really tight. I'm going to bring my foot a little bit closer to the wall, and then I'm going to keep my heel down on that back foot, but now I'm going to bend the knee instead to focus on that soleus muscle. Again, holding for 20 to 30 seconds. Before giving myself a break. When it comes to the soleus, you really do want to still feel it in the back of the leg. If all you feel is compression at the front of the ankle joint, I don't recommend pushing through that. So that's calf stretching. Gastrocnemius with a straight knee, soleus with a bent knee, 3 times 20 to 30 seconds per round, ideally 3 to 5 times per day. So now let's take a look at how we can work on our balance. A little bit of a disclaimer first. If you do feel like your balance is genuinely poor and you are not safe to practice this on your own, do not do it. The reason why we practice balance is to try and prevent a fall. So the worst thing that you could do is practice your balance at home and end up falling. So if you are a falls risk, please see a physical therapist in the clinic to help assist you with this. But otherwise, if you feel like your balance just could use a little bit of improvement, a little bit of work, let's go through the different levels of balance practice. So level 1, I like to say that you're always welcome to use your hands to help you get into any of these positions. The practicing of the balance is actually just once you're in the position itself, in my opinion. And so level 1 is just a double leg balance with feet together. And then you see how easy or not easy that is. Your goal is to be able to balance for 30 seconds. If that is easy, you move on to level 2, which I call a staggered stance. So you're going to put the big toe of one foot to the heel on the inside of the other foot, you don't want it to feel like your legs are locked out straight and you're still like a statue. Have a soft bend in your knees so that way the muscles are on and they're helping you to balance. Again, you want to be able to hold for 30 seconds is what I consider a pass, meaning if you can hold this for 30 seconds easily, you should move on to the next level. And then for this one, because there's technically two different stances, usually the back leg does a little bit more than the front leg, you actually want to try both sides and make sure that both sides are equally good at balancing. And again, practicing there for 30 seconds. I want to make a special point of emphasis for this one. This is not a sobriety test. I'm not looking for heel to toe. Heel to toe is significantly challenging and, in my opinion, isn't necessarily that much more beneficial than working on the big toe to the inside of the heel for our level 2, and then progressing on to other different forms for more difficult progressions. So that's level 2. Level 3 I call kickstand balance. So you put one foot down completely, and then the other foot down, you have toes down and back like the kickstand on a bicycle. Again, soft knee bend on both sides, so that way it feels like your muscles are on, and you try and practice holding that position for 30 seconds to achieve a pass. And then again, you have 2 feet. So try and make sure that the other side looks good too. I love kickstand balance because you can proceed directly into level 4, which is what everybody thinks of doing, classic single leg balance. Again, your goal is to be able to practice for 30 seconds without losing your balance. Movements up top are fine. To me, as long as you maintain it for 30 seconds, that is good enough to decrease your falls risk. So that's what I'm looking for. And then after you do 30 seconds on the one side, you check the other side to make sure that that side's good too. So that's balance practice. What I love most about balance practice is if you practice multiple times a day for a week, you can fix your balance unless you have a significant neurological condition. So you can make a big change in just a week. A lot of the other things, range of motion, strength, we definitely can't get back that quickly. And so when we are have the ability to achieve benefit so quickly, I love working on balance because people can see an improvement pretty rapidly. Good luck.